to the near post. And a corner is given. Alan Gowling, who scored for Bolton against Bristol on the opening day of the season, a match you may have seen on Match of the Day. In fact, Bolton led at half-time, but Bristol City beat them 2-1. Gowling was up there again, and it was flicked on. Walsh got in there. Walsh got in and got the final touch. A very nicely worked goal for Bolton. Alan Gowling at the near post flicked the corner back, and Mike Walsh got ahead to it. And Bolton go in front, as they did on the season's opening day. And Bristol City, who've lost their last 2 home matches, are now in more trouble. So 1-0 to Bolton. Joe Royle. Here's Bain. This is Ritchie. Bain again. Mabbott coming to the near post. Norman Hunter. Tainton. That was Jerry Sweeney feeding it in. Oh, they were onside too, apparently. That was a nice flick on by Alan Gowling, and so typical of the way he plays there, getting in on the set piece on the near post. It's noticeable that Bain is getting into some good forward positions from the Bristol midfield. If you're watching for him, he's number 10. Donny Gillies. Here's Gow. Ritchie. Bolton a man short for the moment. Walsh in the way. Still not away though, that's Greaves. Hooked out by McNabb. Jerry Sweeney. Gillies. Mabbott! It was Mabbott's shot, number 11. But Bolton have injury problems because Tony Dunn stretched for a midfield tackle a couple of minutes back as that move built up and has clearly hurt something. Neil Watmore is the Bolton substitute. So only a quarter of an hour gone, and poor Tony Dunn leaves the field in the saddest of circumstances. Jerry Gow. Tainton. To Sweeney. 3 well-known Bristol City names. They've been here for so many years now. Here's Kevin Mabbott, one of the younger brigade. Gow. Donny Gillies on the far side. Royle and Ritchie queuing up in the centre. Mabbott is waiting too. Hunter to Rogers. Just about everybody now in the Bolton half. Tainton shot! Oh my word! Well, it was a fine effort, first time on the left foot, and McDonough, right behind it, pushed it up, and thankfully for him, when he turned round, it went over the bar. That's pulled back for Gow to volley. More news of Tony Dunn is that, in fact, he has been taken to hospital with that dislocated shoulder. Underrated goalkeeper, Jim McDonough, always seems to play with plenty of composure. Ritchie. That was meant for Bain, but it only went to Gowling. Oh, and given away by Watmore, who hasn't quite got in touch with the game yet, I fear, coming on as a sub. He's made a couple of errors in his own half, but luckily for him, they haven't been punished. Gow nicely to Gillies. Here's Gow again. Oh, off Nicholson, the fullback, and the goalkeeper forced to make a very fine save. I'm sure that came off Peter Nicholson. Would have been an own goal if McDonough hadn't reacted so well. Here's Gow. They're onside, and McDonough punching away. Not much help from his defence there. This is Hunter, and Worthington goes back. And he thinks that's a goal kick, and the linesman says corner. Hunter. Far post ball for Rogers. Gow got a header in. Walsh's clearance went straight to Watmore, fortunately for him. And Bolton finding it hard at the moment to get out of their own half of the field. They've got to pull everybody back as Bristol continue the assault. Now they can work something. Here's Reid. Morgan. Roy Greaves. 5 minutes left in the first half, and Morgan was caught by a late challenge. Referee applied the advantage. Here's McNabb. McNabb seems to be quite enjoying himself in his new surroundings. He may be getting more responsibility here than he did at Tottenham. That was a loose, lazy ball from Worthington. Norman Hunter, very much involved in this first half, but his side still trailing. Sweeney. Walsh sticking very close to Joe Royle, trying to claim the throw as well, but it's been given to Bristol. Tainton. This is Sweeney. Oh, look at that. Good cross too. And away, finally, by a combination of Walsh and Nicholson. Well, how close are Bristol going to come? It was a marvellous piece of skill by Sweeney on the line. That ought to be thought about again, because the crowd could hardly believe that, the way he squeezed through. Tainton for Bristol. Ritchie. Foul by Morgan. Well, Norman Hunter says let's play on, but actually the play has been pulled back. Well, that piece of play by Sweeney, the number 2, was quite the deftest thing I've seen for some time. That's his cross. Gillies, they're all coming out now. Worthington appearing to raise his arms. Here's Royle. Free kick given against Walsh. Bristol so keen to get the equaliser before half-time. An important moment in the match, this. Joe Royle! Well, it won't go in for Joe Royle, will it? Hasn't got on the score sheet this season, and he got in first there at the near post. And in the meantime, Worthington, trying to play the part of a fullback, almost puts his keeper in trouble. Here's Gillies for Bristol. Gow got it back. And going alone, Jerry Gow, what a good run, and a good save again. It's going to come to Ritchie, but it's a corner. Well, applause first for Jerry Gow, a lovely individual run through the middle. Positive midfield play. The cross comes in now. Ritchie flicked it on, and it was away by Watmore. Injury time at the end of the first half. Gillies. Good challenge by Reid. But there's nobody up there for Bolton. They've pulled so many players back these last 15 minutes. Morgan. Now Worthington's got forward, and so has Gowling. So has McNabb. There'll be quite a lot of injury time because of the Tony Dunn incident. McNabb. Morgan. There goes Bain in plenty of space, well found by Gow. Waiting for Gillies to come up on his outside. Getting it back from Royal. Good play by John Bain. Here's Sweeney. Mabbott. Ritchie goes in, and it's there. Tom Ritchie gets the touch and gets the goal. And Bristol City draw level at the end of injury time in a very eventful first half. But what a very good piece of play by John Bain, the number 10. How well he worked that move. The ball played to Mabbott, and when that near post cross came in, there was Ritchie. McDonough, to his credit, got a hand to it, which is all he could have been expected to do, and it went in. First half, which Bristol City dominated, but only after Walsh had put Bolton in front with that early goal. Bolton then having to reorganise without Tony Dunn, and Tom Ritchie equalising just about on half-time. A very good 45 minutes. So all ready for the start of the second half, except for Tony Dunn, who's in the Bristol Royal Infirmary with a dislocated left shoulder. Just looking at the team benches there, you can see Alan Dix, the Bristol manager, at the end of the row, pointing there. Well, that's something the crowd won't like. Bolton are very conscious that they got criticised for back passing at Arsenal earlier in the season, and their coach, George Mulhall, gave instructions before the game that they were to do that only when it was desperately necessary today. The Image took a bit of a battering after that earlier game. Here's Bain. Bristol have still got this scent of attack. They've been going forward nearly the whole match. Ritchie, Gow, Royal on the far post pulling away. There he is. And yes, deflection, but Royal will claim it. 2-1, and that is Joe Royal's first goal of the season. No wonder they're so pleased, and so is he. He pulled away and found the space as the cross came in, but a little bit unlucky for Bolton that. I think it was Mike Walsh who had hit, and the deflection spooned the ball up over McDonough. But no doubt the goal goes down to Joe Royal, and Bristol lead 2-1. By Watmore, Gowling tries to make it. Was he held by Hunter? Linesman is flagging here, free kick to Bolton. That was an unlucky deflection for Bolton, but it's a weight off Joe Royle's mind. They've been telling him here that he should be on the score sheet himself, as well as setting them up for other people, and now he is. Worthington finds Reed. Oh, look at this. Ritchie's away here. Took it wide, and Walsh did well, but it's still Ritchie. Royal! Oh, look at that. 2 in 2 minutes for Joe Royal. All smiles for Bristol City, and Bolton, who thought they'd forced Ritchie wide, Walsh got across with the tackle, but Ritchie got the cross into the far post, and Royal says thanks very much for number 2 for him, and number 3 for Bristol. City had lost 2-1. They were a goal up here, but now they trail 3-1, and will it be more? Scored 4 on his debut here last November against Middlesbrough, Joe Royal. Roy Greaves. Worthington is coasting in on this. It's going to come to Reed. Good effort, although well struck by Peter Reed, who I think may have twisted his knee as he struck it. Certainly gone down in some pain. The applause you're hearing is because John Bain, Bristol's injured player, has made his way off the field to the dressing room, and they're going to bring on Clive Whitehead, the number 12, who is a winger. Somber faces now on the Bolton bench. It's headed on by Royal for Mabbott. Has got Whitehead just behind him, going ahead of him now. Oh, Bolton must be very concerned now about this away record. They're just not picking up any points on opposing grounds. Unless they can stage a quite dramatic recovery here. Here's Gow. Free kick's been given against Gowling. Rodgers arrived. Rodgers took it well. Powerful in the air, this centre-half. Salutes the crowd. And Bristol have scored 4 goals, and that's their best performance of the season. Here's Gowling. Well, Neil McNabb's joined a club in Bolton who are in their first season since winning promotion back to the First Division and desperately need to consolidate, which is something Bristol City have done over the last 2.5 seasons. They look now to be a comfortable side in the First Division rather than a struggling one, Bristol. Gow. Ritchie. Third time this season then that Bolton have let in 4 goals on travel. This is Worthington, and they're not... Free kick's been given. I was going to say they're not making enough headway in the middle of the field to take the pressure off. Walsh has made his way forward again, jumping now. There's Watmore on the far side. Here's McNabb. Oh, hit the post! Goalkeeper possibly unsighted. A good effort from Neil McNabb, left foot. The keeper may have got a hand to it, but it certainly hit the post as well. Bristol City's best win of the season, and Bolton's away form, I'm afraid, going from bad to worse. They were hampered by the injury to Tony Dunn early on. They were a goal ahead, but Bristol City, playing with great verve and spirit, come back to win handsomely, thanks largely to 2 goals, his first of the season, by Joe Royle.